Hello, welcome to Frank's School. 139th day of the 5th year, first video. I'm gonna, and eventually I'm gonna get around to Portugal and the Alps, but today I'll bring this second prequel to an end. I say prequel 2E, A, B, C, D, E. I sort of lost track of my letters. I should have looked, but it's, well, in any case, what I'll do today is just explain how I got from Cusco, my wife and I got from Cusco back to Catole de Rocha in Brazil in the northeast. That's where we lived for 3 years. And we were going back for our second year. And I want to correct something. I said Hiram Young. I'm not sure, but I think he's the one who founded the Mormon church. Hiram Bingham was the one who found Machu Picchu, and the year was 1911. I looked that up. All right, on the way back, Cusco was a city. In a way, the climax of the trip was over. Between Yungay and the Cajon de Huaylas and then Machu Picchu, the bus ride across the Andes, the climax was over. But we were a long way from Catole de Rocha, and we were traveling by land, except for a real brief point. And so we left Cusco by train, took the train down to the shores of Lake Titicaca. That land was interesting. And there was that patchwork of all different colors of crops in different states of harvest or maturation. It was interesting, but not the breathtaking beauty that we had seen. As I say, the climax really was over. Overnight, we took the ferry across Lake Titicaca, which was cool. It was neat. It was like a 19th century experience with the brass fixtures and I don't think it was a steamboat, but when we got to the far side, I think there we were met by either a train or a bus. I don't remember. It seems to me it should have been a train. And which took us to La Paz. And we stopped to look at a ruin. And I was not prepared for this. I didn't really know what it was. Tiwanaku, I guess is what it is. And it was kind of like an obligatory stop. They always stop there because people always go out to look at the ruins. And they are famous. They are fascinating. I mean, how in the world could they have done that? But in spite of that, I don't mean to minimize it. Having seen Machu Picchu, the beauty was simply not there, and I was not as impressed as maybe I even should have been. But anyway, we saw that. Went to La Paz. La Paz was a city, not a particularly charming city, I didn't think. We were down off the Altiplano a little bit. There we flew. We had to. There was really no way that we could. I don't know if it was even possible at that time to take a bus down to Santa Cruz. We flew and across this short part of jungle down to Santa Cruz, which is down on the Bolivian lowlands. There we got stuck for about a day, as I recall. We had nothing to do as we waited for a train. There was a real expensive sort of luxury train that made this trip, but we traveled by steam engine across the Bolivian lowlands, which was cool. I mean, this was all an adventure. It was really something to do. When we crossed into Brazil, we went across the state of Mato Grosso. I think I had Campo Grande. Campo Grande is a city. Mato Grosso is the state. And cattle country and modern train. I mean, it was just so different from the steam engine that we'd been on, which had to stop again and again and again to get water. We took that train to Sao Paulo. I think it was by bus then that we went on to Rio de Janeiro. I don't remember the hotels. I don't remember. I know we didn't pause. We were now just traveling from Rio de Janeiro. We went up by bus to Recife, and then from Recife to João Pessoa, and then turned inland in the state of Paraiba, and eventually got back to Catole de Rocha. Well, there are two poems. I'm going to end this by I want to read two poems of mine. Columbus was wrong. I forgot to write this on there. And I'm not sure the date. It was probably somewhere around 1977, maybe, that I wrote that one. So here we are, some 7 years later. I was in where I live now, living here now, and a friend of mine and I dueled as poets, the dueling poets. And I have two poems that apply, that I want to read to you. This first one comes from Our Poems. Our Poems. That was our first duel, 12 poems each. And here's what I wrote. It's not going to be at all clear why I'm reading this, but I'll explain. It's called It's Obvious. Columbus was wrong. The world is flat. After nearly 500 years of confusion, that is finally getting straightened out. It is flat, but about a mile thick. The stars are another world. The sun and moon are not. He just had no business sailing that far. Now that you may wonder that I would make a statement like that, but I don't know. By now I had become a changed man. I think pretty clearly. But anyway, why I read that right now is because I used a line from that for this next one. And this next one, once again, I used it in another duel. Here we published, or I bound some duels together. And so this one is just a little bit longer. I call it a poem, but you might call it free verse or something, I don't know. But here it is. Columbus was wrong. When that American left his print on the moon, I was in Cusco eating Quechua food. I heard it on the radio, but the food was good, so I didn't pay much attention. Later, on my vacation, a taxi driver in Rio asked me about the moonshot. He was patronizing. After I'd told him what I knew, he said he'd seen it himself by satellite. But no one, he grinned, was fooling him. He knew anything could be done by those American TV studios. Somehow, I don't remember exactly, the last leg of my trip home to Catole de Rocha was on top of a truckload of sacked cotton from Pombal. It was night. It was cool. The sky was clear, the truckload a big dusty pillow. It was good to be back on the dirt roads and among the northeast peasants. A peasant rode beside me. The full moon hung above me, a yellow ball, just out of our way up on top of the cotton reach. The peasant had heard of the moonshot, and he believed. About how far away is the moon, he asked. Americans knew everything. I thought for a long time. Finally I said, mais ou menos uma légua, about 5 miles. We spoke the same language.